So it's been parked up a couple of months now. The main reasoning behind that is I broke it. I was having a bad day, so I went out for a thrash, and the engine mount failed. I was doing about 120 on a private road, and it started making funny noises. Basically the engine nearly fell out. Some ways I kind of wish it did. What had happened was my own stupidity. This mount is something I fabricated when I first did the engine conversion. I didn't plan it out very well, and I put bolts in instead of studs because I'm using a blacktop mount on an ST170 engine, so the VVT pulley gets in the way, and it was just easier to get bolts in than it were the studs at the time. Since then I've changed back to studs. Should resolve that issue, but when it failed, as you can see here, the mount contacted with the engine cover and the pulleys. Cut some big grooves into the mount. I've trimmed my mount down a little bit more actually. Next time it'll proper fuck the belt up if it happens again. But it's hit the cam pulleys, caused friction on the side of the pulley, which has then pulled the pulley round, which has adjusted my cam timing, which then has essentially bent all my valves. It does kind of run. What I'm going to do today, pull plugs out, get bore scope on it, visually see that the valves are bent. At that point I'm going to give up on this head and I'm going to carry on with my other head, and when I've got my other head on it should be a lot better. It's another ST170 head, but I'm porting it a lot more aggressively. I may be revising the intake for the supercharger and the exhaust for the engine as well. When I do that, it should aid performance quite well. I am tempted to just chuck a blacktop head on it just so I can carry on driving it for a bit while I do all the other work, because I do miss having the car. I do miss all the fucking choo-choo noises it makes and whatnot. I've also got another set of throttle bodies that I'm going to be revising to make them hopefully more suitable for the setup that I'm running. Really, I should just get rid of them and go to a single throttle body plenum, but I'm stubborn. I like doing things the hard way. I don't get any satisfaction out of doing easy jobs, do I? So I'm challenging myself and I keep on pushing myself. I'm going to keep trying to make that work. It didn't perform too bad, to be honest with you. It's just cruise conditions that are the worst with ITBs. It's hard to get them lean enough, but I've got options available there that I need to approach. I'm just being a bit lazy. As you can see in my last video, I've been doing a bit of mapping on my mate's Focus, which has got 1.8 Z-Tech in it. We're both running the same management. On the Z-Tech one, we actually started off the base map from my 232 map from this, and it's worked quite well. And I think there's room for a bit more in it as well, but we've just been patient with this build. It's spurred me on to do a bit on mine, so I figured I'd make a start. So I've whipped spark plugs out. I've put the endoscope down, had a look inside, and for those that know, you've got valve cutouts on your intake side for intake valves. I think they're 31.5mm valves, so it's slightly bigger, which is why they need cutouts in the pistons, but they don't have any cutouts in the exhaust side. Looking at the pistons, every single piston has got marks on the exhaust side, so it's retarded the cam that much that it's made contact with the pistons. Probably didn't help that I drove it home even though I knew what the issue was. Yeah. So it's definitely a head off job. Kind of relieved because it's confirmed what I thought. There's no holes in the pistons and they all look pretty healthy as well. There's a lot of carbon on top of them from how rich it's been running. Obviously it's had a lot of mapping issues from getting started, so I'll be able to give that a clean once it's apart, and hopefully get back up and running soon. So now I just need to get my other head stripped and fully ported, and then it's ready to go. And I've already got a spare head gasket set and stuff for it, so at least I know what the plan is now. Well, after doing a bit on Tom's Focus and getting that all running, I've decided to actually spend some time on my own. I've marked out these ports and where I wanted them opening up to. I'm probably going to take that further because it's pretty minuscule. You see inside there a bit there. I've only touched the mouths at the moment, and I've had to keep the valves in while I'm waiting on some tools. So I will be taking all the valves out and doing the full depth of the port in the mouth and such as well. I might give the combustion chambers a quick polish as well while I'm in there. Exhaust ports have been opened up a fair bit. They've not been knife edged yet, but they will be. I've actually got a different exhaust manifold flange that I might be using, which should allow me to open the ports up even further. Get all that boost out there as quick as possible. Maybe supercharged, your exhaust ports make quite a big difference in the running of the vehicle. But this is what's next to be tackled, and it'll be a case of chucking the head on. The car should be running again. I'll put a few little pictures in. I've got the bore scope in. I've done a little look inside, and I've definitely bent all the exhaust valves. There's little pockets in the pistons now that weren't there before, so I'll tidy up any sharp burrs off the pistons when I take the head off. Get a good refresh. The engine's only done probably 1,000 miles since I've built it, so it shouldn't be a bad order really. It's all about getting this head on that engine and onto making the manifold for the turbo.